Now, how do you like that?
That we didn't have 20 years ago.
It was a nice thing.
And I'm a little upset that we do today.
There's an automobile emergency.
Your editor couldn't call you.
Hey, I'm in the woods here. Huh?
He's not much in it, so he'd like to. People walking above, we'll be falling in love under the boardwalk, boardwalk.
I'm Bo Emerson. I am a feature writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and I was a member of the team that put together this hike back in 1995. I was only one of about 4 or 5 hikers, and I did about 200 miles from Springer Mountain up to the middle of the Smokies. And then I thought, it's 20 years later, let's see if any of these people still like hiking, and they all do. Or at least most of them, many of them do, and so we all decided to get back together again and have another little hike. Not quite as long as the last one. The last one was 2,189 miles or so, and this one is only about 20.
Summertime spice and gone, and I'm on my way back on. Yeah, she's good. To see the only girl I ever loved. Now the moon is shining bright, it lights my path way tonight. Back to the
My name is Walter Cumming. I am an artist, an illustrator. I was at the AJC 20 years ago on the trail with Bo Emerson.
I'm Robin Rombach from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
At the time we hiked 20 years ago, I was an editorial board member and a columnist at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I can still close my eyes and see, because I backpacked over Memorial Day, the rhododendron in just arches over the trail, and it was absolutely a gorgeous time of year.
I had the pleasure of walking with my mother, who's a writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, at least she was at the time, and we hiked in mid-Virginia. She hiked a week with my sister, who is not here, my older sister, and another week with me.
I'm Don Hopi. I'm a reporter with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and was a reporter with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette 20 years ago when we did this through hike of the Appalachian Trail.
My name is Chris Hunt. I'm a freelance photographer from Atlanta, Georgia. I was working for the Atlanta Journal and Constitution in 1995. Bo Emerson and I were hiking together. We hiked from Wesser, North Carolina, which is where the Nantahala Outdoor Center is, to Newfound Gap in the middle of the Smoky Mountains National Park. All that is just some of the most spectacular territory.
It was something really unusual, something that people hadn't thought of doing, and so when we were doing it, people loved it and they were behind it and they just wanted to help in every way they could. We had a call-in service at the NNO that you could call and leave messages, and I could leave like tape-recorded sounds on it, and people could call in and hear it. And I tape-recorded bird sounds, and I tape-recorded the sounds of me hiking along and just some of the incidental sounds, and hundreds of people would call in and listen to that. And it was the early days of email, and there were just, when I came back off the trail, there were hundreds and hundreds of emails, and it was amazing to feel like we were reaching people.
We're a little older now, and we don't have 7 months to give. We only have maybe a weekend here, so we had a great time that last time. This time has been a lot of fun too, both for sort of different reasons, but the common element is being out in the woods and also being with other newspaper reporters and having a chance to work together on the same thing.
I had been doing these kind of adventure travel things for several years at the time, and so I had been doing these things, and it got to be 1994, and we were thinking, what would we do in 1995? What would be a good adventure for me? When a fellow at the Current came up to me, and he said, why don't you do the Appalachian Trail? And I said to him, you know, I've thought of that, it's, you know, but I said, you know, my wife would kill me if I take off for 6 months. You know, it's bad enough that I've been going 4 and 5 weeks at a time, you know, in the summertime. But he said, well, maybe you could split it up. And I said, there's an idea. And next thing you know, we had a meeting of editors and myself, and we said, what if we got a group of other newspapers on the East Coast to get together with us? And maybe we each have a section of like 450 miles. You know, the trail is approximately 2,250 miles. It changes a little bit each year as they move things around. But anyway, we had this idea, so we said, let's try it. Let's see if 4 other newspapers want to go in on it with us. And boom, we started talking to Atlanta and other newspapers, and you know, ultimately, you know, Pittsburgh and Raleigh and the Maine newspaper, and we put it together. It took months. It took all kinds of planning meetings, and we had you know, telephone conference calls repeatedly. It was a highly unusual thing to do because, you know, newspapers don't get together and do things together very much. I mean, really, it's almost unheard of. And the wonderful thing was that, you know, we pulled it off.
Nice.